How many of you have not been on one of these? That's it.
Oh, cool.
Wow. That's great. Did you raise your hand on that one, Philip? Who's only missed one? No, anyone? No, no one's been on all of them. Who's only missed one? Who's only missed two? There have been, well, we started it, construction started a year ago, May. So however many months that is. Do we have anyone with an abacus, Kurt?
How about who wish
No,
they
we won't take time on that.
How about who wish they hadn't missed any?
Right, who wish they hadn't missed any. I haven't missed any, I forgot to raise my hand. I've been here for every dang one. So my name is Craig Scharton, and I am the interim CEO of the Downtown Fresno Partnership. That's our office. I've been a long-time downtown revitalization advocate, also known as a broken record. Yeah, people are nodding. So let's see, the Downtown Fresno Partnership is a property owners association. In 2010, the property owners around downtown voted to tax themselves. Yes, people voted to tax themselves to pay for an organization that would help push revitalization. And it's a very normal kind of a thing. Visalia had one 10 years before we did. There are about 80 of these types of organizations around the state. Sacramento's started probably 20 years ago or so. They were the first in the state to do this. So the property owners pay into an assessment. They pay by the amount of square feet they own and where their businesses are located. So I'm waiting for you. I'm just talking nonsense, so you're not missing anything. So they pay per square foot and where they are. So Fulton Street property owners pay the highest, and then as it gets away from here, it goes down. So just for example, these buildings pay about 10 cents per square foot into the assessment, and then the next ring is about 6 cents, and then when you get further out, it's about 1 cent. So this would be the area that we would hope to see the biggest benefit. And then they elect a board of property owners, and they oversee the funds, and then they hire the staff, and then we do the day-to-day work of revitalization. Does that sound good? Any questions about that? That's who we are. So I always think it's good to know who we are based on who pays us money, because then you can have a better sense of what our perspective is. Right, David? Follow the money? Good. So the money comes from the property owners, so we have very much of a private sector. We want to raise the values of the property in our downtown, and you do that through more commerce and more businesses, and that leads to better rent, which leads to better property values, which means banks can give loans to fix up our buildings and do the other stuff we want downtown. So we're rebuilding the economy through that way. So we're standing on Fulton Street, and it could be as early as Monday, but I don't think it'll be Monday, but could be as early as this week that traffic goes back onto this block and also on the northern block when we get to the other side. So that's, if you read our Facebook post, this will be the last one that we will be able to walk in the middle of the street without getting run over. As I told David earlier, it doesn't mean that we won't walk in the middle of the street. It'll just have a different kind of a evolutionary flair to it if we decide to. So Fulton Street starts right here at Inyo. Fun fact, all these streets are named after counties, and they go from south to north. So Inyo, Kern, Tulare, all the way down. You didn't know that? Kind of fun, right? You can amaze your friends at cocktail parties with that. Two of the streets, there is no Kings County and no Madera County, though. Why is that? Why? They didn't exist when Fulton was here, or when downtown was laid out, because those were splitters. They split off. Kings County split off of Tulare County, and Madera split off from Fresno County after downtown was already had their streets. So why are we on Fulton Street? So we looked around the country and we saw that in totality there were 189 pedestrian malls. We were the second in the country to put one in. Kalamazoo, Michigan was the first. And by the time that we were considering what to do with the main core of our downtown, 175 out of 189 pedestrian malls had already been removed. So 92.5% were already gone. So why were they gone? Because they were suffering from economic decline, lack of foot traffic, lack of business, dropping property values, all the same kinds of things we had. Welcome back. So we looked at the 175 and said, what happened when they put their main street back through a pedestrian mall? And 90% revitalized in 4 years or less. Ooh, that's kind of clear data, right? It's not really a debate anymore when you hear facts that are that one-sided. So it seemed like a pretty straightforward solution, rationally based on experience from other cities, small and large, that if they put their main street back, people came back, they could see the businesses. They didn't have to go through a confusing parking system to try to find their way into the middle of an area that they were unsure about. And as soon as more people come back, the businesses do better, it attracts more businesses. You put everything back on the right path. But 4 years is very fast in terms of city life and revitalization. So it's really the most certain thing that you can do in a downtown if you have a pedestrian mall to take it out. If you want to look at another city that's very similar to Fresno, instead of being very hot, they're very cold, about the same size, but of jokes from nearby larger obnoxious cities would be Buffalo, New York. And they had a pedestrian mall. They're doing theirs in stages, block by block, but as each block opens to traffic, it is 100% filled with new businesses, old businesses thriving, restaurants, bars, fun retail, all that kind of stuff. So you can see that one happening in real time as well. You can call the Buffalo Partnership and they will verify what I'm telling you. I always think it's good to check and know what your sources are. So we started this in May. Kind of the format of the street is interesting. We have a 2-lane street. When Fulton was here before the mall, it was a 4-lane street. So we've done something we can call a complete street now, where it's smaller, it lets traffic through, but traffic doesn't necessarily dominate. We have very wide sidewalks because we also want to accommodate pedestrians and outdoor dining as part of this experience. So we didn't want to just have 4 lanes with a whole bunch of cars going through. We want to have some through traffic, but also still have a good pedestrian experience. So it's more of a balance. A lot of the features around the mall, as we did this process over a number of years, we had thousands of comments come in from the community, and there was a very high value on the art was the number one, the fountains, the design, as well as the mature trees. And so as we tried to wrestle, because you only have a certain distance from building to building, how to accommodate all of those things, we found that if we put the street exactly in the middle, we didn't have enough room for some of the fountains, and we would lose all of the grown mature trees. So it's an unusual design in that it's a little bit pushed off to the west. So we have a wider sidewalk over here than we do over here. So on the west side, we have a 14-foot sidewalk from the building front to the curb, which is a very wide sidewalk. But on this side, we have a 28-foot wide sidewalk, which is crazy wide, but it also allows us to accommodate things like the fountains. So, so there were creative solutions to try to do this. Another thing is that we put the bands back in, the aggregate bands. We also put in the original color of the pedestrian mall, so it's a very specific shade that the contractors had to follow. And there are even times where we've inspected and the shade isn't right or the aggregate isn't right, and they've had to pull it out and redo it again because we have agreements with 17 different state and federal agencies, and our environmental impact report, both state and national environmental impact report, and all these things are, in a lot of consideration with the public's desires. So this fountain used to be over here. It's completely rebuilt from the original blueprints. It is about, the larger fountains are at about 80% of the size of the original. So they're the same design, but they had to be shrunk a little bit to accommodate the amount of space that we have. But you can see the water is starting to flow, and some of the artwork is coming back. So where's Miranda? Miranda. So you're going to have to kind of let me know when you want to jump in. Miranda is a longtime downtown advocate for the last 30 or 40 years. She's been pushing at this. Wow. She is working on her silver award through Girl Scouts. Lives downtown with her mom. Been on a lot of these walks and volunteers. So why don't you tell everyone what you're doing with your silver award? So get up here and project this way.
So hi, my name is Miranda, and you may also know me as Mad Cookie Boss from Instagram. And I started a downtown art guide for kids on Fulton Street from Inyo to Divisadero. And a silver award is a second highest honor you can get in Girl Scouts, and it is a take action project to help better my community. And so I just really wanted to get kids downtown to enrich their life with art.
Perfect. So do you want to say anything about, yay, absolutely. Do you want to say anything about the individual artwork? So we'll kind of go one by one as we pass them. What's that? They're covered up still. So I'll just say how it works with the contractor is the contractor bears liability for all this stuff until the city says it's complete and we'll accept it. So they're keeping things covered up because if it gets damaged, they have to pay for it and fix it. So
The Yoka Indian is the one with its arms up. It's over a trash bag, but that's okay. So The Yoka Indian by Clement Renzi. This piece was added to Fulton in 1974 around the 10th anniversary of the opening of the mall. It was donated by Mr. and Mrs. Fred Deutsch. I heard that Mr. Deutsch had it made because of his love for the local Native Americans and had it placed in this area because this is where he would meet his friends to play cards. Did you know that the first sculptures you come to on the north and south side of the old mall are both made by Renzi? The Yoka Indians lived here on the valley floor and in the foothills. The men either wore nothing or animal skin draped around their hips. What kind of animal do you think this clothing is made out of? Let me say it. Deer skin. And then the next one's oboes.
okay, now we'll walk over to oboes. Any questions so far?
Yes.
Yes, question.
How are we going to compete with the northern stores that don't charge for parking?
Good question. So it's in the downtowns that you like where they charge for parking, they all have competing commercial areas that don't charge for parking. So in anywhere, say in Los Angeles, you could go to 50 different shopping malls that don't charge for parking, and yet people will still go to LA Live and gladly pay $20 before they get their first drink to park inside that parking garage, or they'll go to Old Town Pasadena and pay the valet $10 to park. So there becomes such a high demand to be in a place where there are lots of, say, restaurants and shops and nightclubs and fun places to go, that people have more desire to be here that outweighs the annoyance of having to pay for parking. So get a little more revitalization background. So in Fresno, you would often hear pay for parking, homeless people, confusing one-way streets, sort of listed as obstacles of why you don't come down here. But if I said, come down here tonight, Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and there will be 0 businesses open. Quite an attraction, right? You're all looking at your calendar. I hope I have a free night to come to a downtown with 0 open businesses. Right? So our attraction is down, 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 down. So the obstacles are very high. If we are successful in adding, say, 10 restaurants, bistros, nightclubs a year for the next 5 years, and we have 50 businesses in here that are all doing really fun stuff, then the attraction starts outweighing the obstacles. So we definitely want to work on reducing the obstacles, but we also want to increase the attraction. So if I said tonight there is a free Carlos Santana concert at Mariposa and Fulton,
We're there.
right? Now all of a sudden those other things that are annoying to you aren't so annoying because you'll do anything, you'll climb over whatever obstacle to get to the attraction. So mostly if you listen to the public discourse, it's all about obstacle. Our view is let's work on attraction. We don't want to ignore the obstacles. We want to reduce them. But if this is a fun place, you'll do, maybe not you, but people that are very urban dwelling, urban kind of personality people will come down. We've got a jade beetle on the tour, ladies and gentlemen. They actually can't hurt you, but that doesn't stop you from wanting them to land on you or be in your hair.
What is that?
Get it, Peeve. There you go. Good dog. How about that? Peeve the wonder dog. I wonder about him all the time. All right, let's walk a little bit. Great question. Thank you.